Yesterday I was interviewed, and it was not the interview I expected to have. Not that I was entitled to have the interview I necessarily expected to have, but what I did expect, what I think I had a reasonable expectation of, was that the interview would be a means of me talking about and promoting my new book, The Insurrectionist, which is, of course, what I'm trying to do right now, spending a lot of time trying to be self-promoting, which is something that does not come easily to me, but something that I know is necessary. So, over the course of this interview, I was grilled about things concerning my personal life, and I responded in a way that was honest, even though part of me was thinking to myself, wait a minute, we're not talking that much about my book, but are we going to talk about my book, or are we going to try to promote my book? Isn't that why did you read my book? Isn't that why you had me on? The interviewer was Luke Ford. And he invited me to come on, and the impression I had was that he had indeed read my book. I don't know now whether he has or hasn't read it. But it was not a very pleasant interview. I'll just say that. It's not that I'm against being grilled. It's not that I'm against being challenged, or anything like that. In fact, I wasn't going to say anything about this interview. I was just going to sort of hopefully let it just not get any more oxygen, let it sort of die out of its own accord. Because it's Luke's show. He can ask his guests the questions that he wants to ask them, and that's fine. But I could definitely say I wasn't prepared for the grilling. I wasn't prepared for the ways in which he was characterizing me, and the ways in which I felt ultimately like he was straw-manning me. And again, though, I wouldn't have said anything at all about it, except I visited Luke Ford's YouTube channel today, and while the interview is not up there, I think it's some other places. What he did post last night at the close of our interview was a very thinly veiled attack on me. Now, in Luke's defense, it was also an attack on himself, because the way he talks in this video, he says, I used to be this way, or I was this way, and I became this sort of unpleasant person because I got drawn deeper and deeper into these kinds of unhealthy obsessions, and that made me lose all of my friends and so forth. And so he became this kind of person, he says, because he became someone who embraced the dissident right. And what he says in this video, I will link to the video, but it's basically that, like, it's basically along the lines of saying there are a lot of losers out there who they have these lives where nothing's going right for them, and they don't really have any friends, and they're they're not very successful, but they just entertain this kind of they start to entertain what he called conspiracy theories, and that's what, and so they live off of this kind of spite. It's sort of this characterization. To me, it was a caricature of this Nietzschean resentment kind of person who is a loser, who's low status, who's not well regarded, but he says, but hey, I see through the bullshit. I see through the bullshit, and so at least I have that. So take that, all you other people out there who are winners, who are high status, who have the things that I don't. I resent you bitterly for having all the things that I don't have, but at least I see through the bullshit, unlike you. This was his characterization of this type of person, and it was a very thinly veiled characterization of what the way that I believe he strawmanned me over the course of our interview. The way that he kind of dime store psychoanalyzed me, and the kind of conclusions that he drew about me was that I was this type of person, that I was somebody who was a loser, who who didn't have much success in his life, but I was clinging to my conspiracy theories because at least I see through the bullshit. Now in this video he does not mention me by name, but you watch this video after you watch his interview with me, and you watch this video with the knowledge of what the tone and tenor of the interview with me was like, and it's obvious who he has in mind. It's obvious who he's talking about. And he does, yes, again, indict himself. He does say, I was once this way, but he says of himself, I'm not this way anymore. I've grown up. I've grown a pair. I'm not this smug, self-righteous embracer of conspiracy theories or dissident ideologies, because people who believe in conspiracy theories and dissident ideologies just tend to be losers, marginalized types who are psychologically unfit. Now, I make no claim to being Mr. Super psychologically fit person, but I do think that this is terribly unfair characterization of me, and Luke I'm not going to try to argue Luke out of his the way he feels about me, clearly, the way that he's chosen to characterize me. I have no interest in saying, no, no, you're wrong, I'm not a loser. I mean, hell, I've embraced the whole low status thing. I don't believe that the way that I've grown to see the world through, the exposure to things like the Franklin scandal, and other such things, I don't believe, I honestly don't think to myself, well, I may be a low down, low status person who nobody likes, but at least I see through the bullshit. I don't feel that way about myself, I don't believe that is a proper way to characterize me. You can challenge my beliefs, and you can, you're entitled to come to the conclusions that you want to come to about me, and many have. Some people have positive impressions of me, some people have negative impressions of me, some people have neutral impressions of me. Some people, the vast majority of people are like, who's he? But But I wanted to just put this out there. This is the last thing I'm going to say about it. I was just gonna let it go and not comment on it at all. But I felt that I had to respond to this thinly veiled attack upon me. This very vitriolic mischaracterization of who I am. And again, the interview itself was conducted in a way that Luke saw fit to conduct it. It was not what I was thinking would happen. I thought he would want me to talk about the book. I thought he would ask me questions about the book. I didn't think that I would become, that the vast bulk of the interview would be talking about me and my psychological defects. But I went along with it just because I want to, I want to be honest, and I don't want to be disingenuous, and I don't want to, try to project myself or puff myself up or do anything like that. And I sort of thought, well, I thought to myself, this is kind of weird. This is going in some weird places. I'm not really comfortable with this, but but my instinct told me to just go along with it and be as honest as I could be. But I think that might have been a mistake now, because I don't think that Luke Ford, unfortunately, I don't think that Luke Ford approached this interview in a way that was fair to me. That's just my take on it, okay? He can feel differently. I'm not going to try to argue with him about it. You can feel differently. I'm not going to try to argue with you about it. This is absolutely the last thing I'm going to say about this. But I just felt the need to respond, and I would not have felt the need to respond if not for this egregious video that Luke posted on his YouTube channel after our interview, which was basically attacking me in all but name. I would have respected it more if he'd actually said Andy Nowicki in this this interview, but he didn't say that. But it's clear based on the fact that we had just finished doing he had just finished interviewing me, and then he came on and editorialized about the type of loser who can't get it together and who's a failure in his life, but just clings to fringe ideas, conspiracy theories, dissident ideologies, because at least I see through the bullshit. I don't think that's a fair characterization of me. I think there's plenty you can criticize about me, but I don't think that's getting it. Okay. And I think that the interview was conducted under false pretenses. We did not end up talking about the insurrectionist, hardly at all. And supposedly, ostensibly, Luke invited me on to talk about my book, The Insurrectionist. But it seems his interest was not really to talk about the book. All right. So this is the last I'm going to say about this subject. And anybody who wants to, contact me directly with questions about it, you can. I'm not going to respond to any questions or queries or I'll leave the comment section open for this video, but I'm just just not gonna I'm not gonna get all up in it. I've said my piece. Now I'm done. Thanks for watching.